Another real big test for Gregg Popovich this afternoon. It's the visit of Spurs, a team on the very impressive and very rapid rise under Mauricio Pochettino, and one of the top four, threateners, if you like, and a very interesting break to the original top four, and certainly in the top four of this table as well, along with Manchester United, the current leaders, ahead of Watford and Southampton, a very surprising league table. Well, Manchester United have had to shuffle the deck a bit once again, so it's going to be interesting to see how they do in this game, as shuffling the deck hasn't really gone well in the past. It's two of the most top scoring teams in the league, Spurs top of that, with Harry Kane only having 5 of them. So the interesting myth of Harry Kane FC certainly isn't the case right now, as he's only got 5 of the 16 goals Spurs have scored. Gregg Popovich has to shovel his team again. Romero's in goal with Valencia Tuanzebe. Rojon Williams gets another start, and Ryan Bertrand is on the left. It's Mkhitaryan with Blind, Matic and Young in the midfield. And it's a front two of Migati, Zardes and Marcus Rashford, with a very interesting bench that doesn't include many of Manchester United's first team. So Gregg Popovich will be interested to see how his team does with the formation changed. We've got Mauricio Pochettino, Michel Vorm is in goal, and his defence is Coleman with Dyer, Vertonghen and of course Davies on the left. As the midfielders Dembele and Wanyama just in front of the defenders. It's Sissoko, Eriksen and Song in front of them, and up top of course is the main man for Spurs, Harry Kane. Dele Alli only making the bench this afternoon. So Spurs with 15 goals, 16 goals rather. Manchester United with 15 goals, so I think we can expect goals in this matchup. And one infamous thing is that Spurs have been a bit of a bogey team for Manchester United in the past. We all remember that matchup that Timothy Mensah had his breakout game, if you like, and then he got injured, and then things really went bad for Manchester United. They ended up losing by 3-0. And with Timothy Mensah having a lot of these Spurs players in his pocket for most of the afternoon until he went off, you can tell that that was a telling moment in the young man's career that really showed that he is going to be a force to be reckoned with for Manchester United in the future. And it is all about Manchester United's future out there on the pitch today. And a lot of people saying Piera probably would have got a start, but Popovich went with Romero instead. Piera makes the bench, and obviously Gregg Popovich has to keep in mind his incoming Champions League matchup, which I believe is against Basel next. Tottenham, incidentally, have their Group H matchup, I think it is, against FC Nantes, in a group that involves them and Real Madrid and Borussia Dortmund. But Borussia Dortmund have been struggling in the Champions League so far this season, so it's going to be interesting to see how that group plays out as the second half of the Champions League groups begin. So he's told Manchester United just to kind of pick the simple pass, don't try to force the issue, as it were, which can be the case a lot in basketball as well. So he's bringing a lot of his basketball expertise to football, and it's working to some degree. So the culture in sport is completely different, but Gregg is adjusting well, that has to be said. You have to commend Gregg Popovich on his adjustment. He's definitely done the best job he can possibly do, and it's working in all competitions, even if Manchester United have a blip here and there. And as we said, against, I think it was the losses against Stoke and Everton, I think it was, they played well. It's just that the opposing team outplayed them a little bit, but against Benfica, they really were struggling. And it's fair to say that Gregg has had a very busy first season for United. He's had to contend with the Champions League, and the transfer window he was all over. The transfer market, signing everybody, it seemed like. And the rebuild started, and it's fair to say that Gregg has really started his Manchester United kind of career in the best possible way. That's a great tackle from Sissoko. Harry Kane's got a lot to do from up here. He's going to find his teammate. Laid it off to Dembele, and Wanyama over the bar. But Spurs have their own kind of rumblings in the transfer market to deal with. Obviously, with Harry Kane continuing to banging in the goals, it's not leading to trophies. A lot of people, including Wayne Rooney, saying that Harry Kane will have to start winning trophies at Tottenham if Spurs want to keep him. Marcus Rashford, oh, he's banged it in the goal. 1-0 to Manchester United. And of course, it's Marcus Rashford yet again. Wonderful goal. Marcus Rashford making it all his own work. And like we said, he's all over them like a Rashford to nick a race from Martin Tyler. And he's banged this in. Look at this. Absolutely wonderful. Got the goal. Didn't have all of the first touch. But he pulled away. And he banged it in the goal. And Michel Vorm is nowhere near that thunderous strike from Marcus Rashford. And he continues to make other teams look like amateurs. Oh my word. Is this kid ever going to have a bad time, you know? He's not really had a bad patch as of yet. 7 goals, which puts him further in front of Harry Kane, who currently sits on 5. And just on the stroke of half-time, pretty much, Marcus Rashford has given Manchester United the lead. United won Spurs 0 with 3 minutes to play of added on time. It's a crunching tackle by Matic, but it's the referees let play go on. Well, Marcus Rashford just continues to play well under Gregg Popovich. And, well, it's just the young player, isn't it, at Manchester United. That's why they are who they are. Marcus Rashford has been the epitome of it, the first kind of epitome of it since pretty much the class of 92. But he's given Manchester United the lead here by a goal to 0, and it's Marcus Rashford again who's given them the lead. And he obviously, I think he played against Manchester City, if I remember, for some degree of time, so he might not make the full match, but by the time he is on, Marcus Rashford is making the most of it yet again, and he's given Manchester United yet another lead. United 1, Spurs 0, Marcus Rashford has scored again. Here's Kane. Sissoko. Dembele. Son. Oh, and Son is tackled by Blind. The referee's given a penalty. And I think it's a clear decision. And I think Blind can really have no complaints. It looked like a shoulder barge from where I was sitting. Danny Blind has given away a penalty. Let's see. Yep, no question about that. Definite penalty. Right decision from the referees. Sissoko is coming off for Eric Lamela. And Sergio Romero has his first real test of the afternoon. Harry Kane from 12 yards. And normally he doesn't miss. And he's not missed again. Harry Kane, prolific as always. His 6th goal of the season from the penalty spot. And he brings Tottenham level as probably to be expected. And yeah, Harry Kane doesn't miss from 12 yards. It's almost a formality. And he scored another one. But like we said, it's only his 6th goal of the season of the 17 now that Tottenham has scored overall. It's definitely not a one-man band at Spurs. Well, I think Harry Kane, he just looked so cool and composed and comfortable, didn't he? He was always going to score. Sergio Romero even taking a step to the right before diving that way. But no way you can stop Harry Kane from 12 yards mostly. And a signal of the bond between striker and manager evident there as Harry Kane has drawn his side level. And it's probably was almost a formality. It's 1-1 here and a bit of a classic going on. 2 of the top scorers in the league have added to their totals. It's 1-1 here at Old Trafford now. Double substitution for Manchester United. It's Marcus Rashford, who has obviously played in the Manchester derby. And Ashley Young going off for James Wilson. And Angel Gomez is coming on there in his Ashley Young's place on the left. And that is the end of the game. No further goals, unfortunately, but it was a tight affair. But Gregg Popovich will definitely be the happier of the 2 managers. Spurs are a tricky team to face against, and Gregg is earning all the vital points he can. So he will definitely take this as a step in the right direction. They keep getting the points, and that's how Manchester United will look at it. Another goal for the ever-rising talent that is Marcus Rashford, obviously substituted late on for James Wilson. And it was really kind of fizzled out after Harry Kane's penalty, and actually that was in the second half, my apologies. But it is fizzled out after that, and it turned into a goal draw rather, by a goal apiece, and points are shared And like we said, Gregg Popovich will definitely be the happy of the two coaches with that situation in mind. There's a few 1-1 draws in today's cover of the other games, so let's get to it. Bournemouth and Chelsea, a goal apiece draw there, as was Burnley, Newcastle and Crystal Palace and West Ham. Leicester City then break the trend with a 2-1 victory at Everton, as did Liverpool and Huddersfield by the same scoreline. Spurs and United, a goal draw. Watford back on the winning ways, beating Stoke by 3-0. And West Brom holding Manchester City to a 2-2 draw. Premier League table has had a change to it, with Watford's most recent win has put them back at the top of the table ahead of Manchester United by a point. Liverpool climbed to third in front of Spurs. Southampton dropped to fifth today. Manchester City are in sixth, and the other two of the original top four, Chelsea and Arsenal, at 8th and 9th respectively, beaten by Everton, as Leicester City complete the top 10 of the relegated promoted teams. Brighton are 11th, Huddersfield are down to 15th, and Newcastle are up in 14th place. The relegation zone is Burnley with West Brom and Bournemouth, who are slowly climbing the table but still quite the ways from safety at the moment, and still no wins after 10 games played. They've only earned 3 points. It's the second half of the group stages, and in typical Manchester fashion, it's wet. And it's going to make for a very interesting pitch. Manchester United take on CSKA Moscow in the second round of group games begins today. And Manchester United and Gregg Popovich will be looking to kind of go into redemption mode for their kind of surprising loss against SL Benfica, which, as you can see, puts them at the top at Group A. I think it's on goal difference, as Manchester United didn't even score against Benfica in that matchup. The squad for Gregg Popovich is pretty much a full-strength side. David De Gea is in goal with Lindelof, Jones and Bailly. It's the regular back three. The vice-captain and captain start today with Herrera and Henwood, who are with Jesse Lingard and Wilfried Zaha and Paul Pogba as usual. It's Rashford and Martial starting up front, and Romelu Lukaku only makes the bench, but is only being made to for an emergency more than anything else, as he's still kind of recovering from his broken ankle he suffered 3 years ago, so he makes his return to the side tonight. For Moscow, it's probably much the same squad that played Manchester United in the previous matchup, in which Manchester United scored an easy victory, according to Gregg Popovich anyway, as obviously it's Witsel. It's I think the only one missing is Rens Wolfswinkel, actually, because I think he's the only one missing out of that previous side. It was just a really strange scenario, but has it worked out better for Manchester United? Well, it would certainly seem so at the moment. The improvement is there. That's a beautiful pass from Pogba, and Martial's put it into the box towards Rashford. That's a good save by the keeper, but Paul Pogba's put it in, and it's 1-0, and that is a beautifully worked goal. And that all started from Paul Pogba as well, I think. And Pogba's delighted with that one. Brilliant goal from Manchester United. Absolutely sensational ball from Pogba back to Martial. Pogba kept moving forward towards the box. Wonderful stuff. It started and ended with Paul Pogba. Absolutely phenomenal pass to Martial. He put it into the box. Rashford got a foot on it. Saved by the keeper. But the ball was too close to Pogba, and he doesn't miss from there. What a sensational goal. Paul Pogba started and finished the move. Beautiful stuff. And United deservedly lead by a goal to 0. It's going to be a throw-in. And they'll just throws it straight out to Rashford. Rashford has kept moving, and he's found Lingard, who kept moving forward. Pogba again! It's 2-0! And it's a stroll here at Old Trafford this evening. And it's Paul Pogba again. Another beautifully worked goal from Manchester United. Straight off the throw-in from Martial to Rashford. Jesse Lingard ran in behind him wonderfully here. That's a beautiful pass for Marcus Rashford. And Lingard found Pogba, who was wide open again. And he's just making it look easy, isn't he? Didn't get all of it, but he went across the line. And that was all that counts for Manchester United. And they're on a stroll tonight. This is exactly the response Gregg Popovich would have wanted from his team in this game, coming off the Benfica loss. And Manchester United, it's a beautiful 2-0 lead, and they don't look like slowing down. And with none of that determination though. And Benfica are building on their Manchester United win and are leading against Basel in the other game in this group. So it's going to keep it interesting. Well, Paul Popovich had a sensational first half. 2 goals, started the first one, finished it, and then scored another. And Manchester United's play is in sensational wing work. That's for the majority of the season as well. Eric Bailly is quite far forward here. Marcus Rashford tees up a shot. Marcus Rashford. It's been pretty easy for him this season. He's just continuing his work, and he hasn't really had a bad patch so far, Marcus Rashford. We don't want to jinx it, of course. Popovich frustrated that his team's not putting Moscow away at the moment. They've had the better of the second half of the first half, let's say. It's quite a mouthful. Great interception from Lindelof, but Aaron is right there to deal with him. It's unfortunate. And Herrera gets his foot in. Manchester United captain with the vice captain by his side. Martial in towards Rashford. It's just beautiful play on the wing and beautifully aimed crosses. Marcus Rashford. I think he probably should have buried that, and he knows it. Actually, to be fair to him, that's rather close to another sensational Manchester United goal. Gonzalez. He's going forward. Go past Lindelof. And Jones has thrown himself in front of the ball there. Bailly has hit him as well. Moscow still have it. Phil Jones again. Phil Jones, phenomenal defending, and United have got away with the ball here. Here comes Rashford. And Rashford has beaten everybody for pace and couldn't get the cross in. Zaha's picked it up with the loose ball, and Yazlin knew nothing about that. But Phil Jones, defensively, has been so solid all season, and his run of games is paying him dividends, that's for sure. But Manchester United, and Paul Pogba in particular, sensational first half, 2 brilliantly worked goals, and deservedly lead at half-time. Typical Manchester United performance. United 2, Moscow 0, and deservedly so. Well, what a cracker of a Premier League game we have coming next, as the champions Chelsea take on Manchester United, and that could well shape the destiny of the title somewhat. Even though Chelsea aren't really directly involved, the ball's come out to Gonzalez, and he scored it. And another clean sheet has gone for Manchester United. It's a weird one going on, but I'm not sure what happened there. The ball must have... Let's see. Well, Aaron doesn't get all of the first attempt. De Gea comes out. And not really sure what happened there. I don't think Aaron got all of it. David De Gea might have got a touch on it that deflected it out to Gonzalez. Maybe it's an unfortunate goal more than anything else, although that kind of shot really shows maybe the issue. Very compact Manchester United defence with everyone within metres of each other. And another clean sheet is gone. But if Manchester United get the 3 points, it won't matter. And it's a bit of a scruffy goal for United to concede, to be fair, but let's see how they respond and see if they take when they're going by the scruff of the net now. Moscow, it has been coming, to be fair. They have created a few chances in the first half. They were just more wide. But that was a rather scruffy goal. David De Gea came out. I'm not sure if he got anything on it at that speed. But if he did, it was unfortunately touched out to Gonzalez, who tapped it in. Pretty much in Paul Pogba fashion to a degree. Paris Saint-Germain are absolutely dominating against Celtic. And that is to be expected down there in France at the moment. With Paris Saint-Germain, the new powerhouse in world football. And not just in funds either. But it's pretty much as to be expected. Celtic have put in a very admirable effort this Champions League this season. Oh, the ball has come through out to Aaron now. Is Bailly going to get there? Yes, he is. Herrera. And here comes Jesse Lingard. And he's put it in. And that could be game over. Manchester United, and Jesse Lingard responds. I think that's Lingard's first goal of the season, unbelievably. Typical Lingard dance there. Great pass from Paul Pogba again. And Jesse Lingard doesn't miss those. And Lingard has been a man who's been rather unfairly criticised in my opinion. But once again, he does show his match-winning credentials, and we all know that Jesse Lingard was really part of that FA Cup winning for Louis van Gaal a couple of seasons ago. Jesse Lingard is a definite match winner, and he's got his first goal, I believe, of the season, and definitely his first in the Champions League, maybe his first ever Champions League goal, unbelievably. Here's Witsel. Oh, Witzel's gone down from Lindelof. That's a clear penalty. And no complaints. And I think Lindelof could go in the book as well. The referee has decided not to give it. Could be a double whammy for him. And it's rather clumsy from Lindelof, to be honest. He's never getting the ball there. And that'll come with age as well. Let's see if Moscow can get a foothold back in with, I believe this is Witsel, to take this penalty kick. And it's poor, and it's deservedly poor as well. All the stutters from Witsel, and it doesn't bamboozle David De Gea. Well, Witsel is coming off for Moscow, and we are going to have a small appearance for Romelu Lukaku, who is coming on. I believe it's going to be for Marcus Rashford. It certainly is. Wilfried Zaha is also making way for Ramadan Sobhi. And it's a welcome back to Romelu Lukaku then. Still running off his injury, and he's going to get a couple of minutes plus stoppage time. And kind of almost fell to Herrera, I think. 3 points for Manchester United against Moscow tonight. Rather comfortably earned despite the goal. It was all Manchester United on the scoreline tonight. Paul Pogba, absolutely sensational as always. Back to his old form, I guess. And continuing his relentless in scoring run. It's definitely a team effort at Manchester United these days. But Paul Pogba, the man pulling the strings as usual, and looking like a bit of his Juventus form, to be honest. Sensational night. And Jesse Lingard got the third, despite a goal from Gonzalez. It could have been so different had Witsel converted the penalty, but he was poor with it. It was saved by De Gea, and turned into a rather comfortable night for Manchester United. But again, they pushed it a little bit with the passing being a bit loose. But once again, the goals that count, and the goals definitely counted tonight. Paul Pogba with 2 of them, and Lingard getting the third. And it was all curtains. And another 3 points for Gregg Popovich in the Champions League, and a perfect response to the loss against Benfica. It's United 3, Moscow 1. So scores from around the grounds tonight. Atletico Madrid convincingly beaten Copenhagen by 2-0, and Barcelona in their group winning by the same scoreline against Sporting Lisbon. FC Basel losing to Benfica in Manchester United's group, meaning Manchester United and Basel and Benfica are now on equal points. I do believe Benfica might still be ahead of goal difference. We'll have a look at the groups in a second. Juventus are not suffering with the loss of Paul Pogba, are they? 2-0 win against Olympiacos. Paris Saint-Germain beating Celtic by 3-1. Roma have beaten the champions Chelsea by 1-0. And as we earlier reported, Anderlecht won, Bayern Munich won. An admirable point for Anderlecht. So that means the groups after 4 games look like this. It's a strange one in Group A because Benfica are still leading the way on virtue of something. I'm not really sure what it is exactly, but they are leading the way against Manchester United. They still have to play each other, of course, though, so it could all change. Moscow could still get in despite the loss to United tonight, but it looks like for FC Basel, their Champions League journey is over with 6 points left to gain, and Manchester United and Benfica have that kind of cushion, as it were, as far as Basel is concerned. In Group B, it's all still to play for, more or less. Bayern Munich and Paris Saint-Germain leading the way. Very admirable effort, as we said during the game from Celtic. They are still in with a shout, and it looks like Anderlecht, well, they need Paris to lose Anderlecht and to have really scoring abundance of goals to have any sort of chance of getting the second spot in Group B. But as far as Bayern Munich, Paris Saint-Germain, and even Celtic are concerned, it's still all to play for. Group C is Roma and Atletico Madrid absolutely dominating things in that one, but Chelsea still with a shot to get in. But the champions really need to get going. They've not had the greatest of campaigns so far, with only 5 points from a possible 12. Copenhagen on 0 points. And it looks like they're pretty much gone as well. Roma and Atletico Madrid are too far ahead. all things considered, to get anything from that one. In Group D, it's Barcelona and Juventus absolutely smashing it. It's probably to be expected, but Olympiacos could still get in, but it looks like for Sporting CB, it is all but over. In Group E, it's absolute domination from Sevilla, with Liverpool and Stuttgart and Spartak Moscow all fighting for that second spot. It looks like Sevilla are going to win the group by kind of some margin. They've not lost yet in their group, unbelievably, so they're unbeaten from 12, only dropping 2 points with Liverpool, Spartak and Stuttgart to fight it out for that final spot. It looks like Sevilla probably might not be catched. In Group F, it's Napoli and Shakhtar Donetsk leading the way. It's all still to play for in Group F with all places considered. But Manchester City need to get something and fast, because they could be dropping out, crashing out again, which seems to be the case with Manchester City. They can't really get any further than the group stages recently. It looks like that might be for Guardiola again. In Group G, it's absolute demolition job from AS Monaco. 12 points out of 12, absolutely dominating it, and look like to be going through as group winners rather comfortably. Leipzig, Besiktas and Porto, however, are all still in a scrap to grab that second spot. Real Madrid and Spurs leading the way in Group H. Real Madrid absolutely dominating things there as well, with Dortmund and Nantes still in with a shout, but Spurs probably one more point might just see them through with 6 points, and then it turns into 3 points. Spurs will probably only need a point to make it. Real Madrid looks like they're going to win that one.